So hey you guys, this review is going to be for Alan Wake, and the reason I'm holding my Amazon Kindle here is because I no longer have my Alan Wake because I took it back. So this is going to be a negative review for once. So here we go. And I'm going to start with the negatives for Alan Wake. So before we get into it, Alan Wake, not my Kindle, is about Alan Wake. He's a writer who writes horror stories. He's married to a hot piece of ass named Alice. She's actually not that hot. She's kind of creepy looking. In fact, everybody in this game's creepy looking. So let's get into that. This game took 7 years to make. The graphics are pretty. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this is a good looking game, but everybody looks like they've had their faces stretched back like with liposuction. Like everybody looks like a fucking monster that's about to jump out of a closet and fucking attack you. So even when you go into it, everybody in the fucking town you walk into, even though they're peaceful, you're like, well, that's a creepy looking dude. I should stay away from him. So Alan Wake takes a vacation in the town of Bright Falls to try and clear his writer's block, where he is given the keys to a cabin by a weird old lady who is not the person he's supposed to be getting the keys from. And this is one of my biggest gripes with Alan Wake, but we'll get into that in a second. So after getting the keys from this mysterious old lady, they head to the cabin, and all of a sudden Alan wakes up after a strange happening that night, wakes up in his car with a banged up head and no idea where he is. So as he adventures through the game, he finds out that there are these monsters covered in darkness. Yes, I said darkness, like similar to the ink that covers the world in Super Mario Sunshine. Yes, I did just compare Alan Wake, an action game with a teen rating, to Super Mario Sunshine, because most of this game is spent shining your flashlight at people, waiting for the darkness to go off of them, and then unloading a pistol into them. Now, a lot of reviews I've read out there, and keep in mind this is a pretty old game I'm reviewing here. I picked it up for like 17 bucks or something, so it's super cheap now. A lot of the reviews I've read for this game say the same thing over and over. This gameplay is innovative. It's innovative. I'm sorry guys, for me this wasn't, it was innovative, it is different, but it's annoying. I don't want to shine a flashlight at something for 30 minutes before I can shoot it. I just want to shoot it and I want it to die. Because horror is not about staring at something for a very long time, it's about something really messing with your mind and making you afraid. This game is basically just dangling the scary thing in front of you for a long time and going, ooh, you can't hit it yet, you can't hit it yet, until you finally are able to hit it. You shoot it twice and it goes away, and you wash, rinse, repeat this for a long time before people say, oh, you're just playing on the easy mode. I did not. I played it on the hard mode because the hardest mode wasn't unlocked, and by God, I wish I had the hardest mode for this game, because everyone in the game seems to go down with about 3 or 4 shots, which is realistic, albeit really boring. Most of the bosses are either a guy with a big old axe or a chainsaw, which you shine your flashlight at for a really long time and then shoot a couple times and they die, or some kind of object possessed by the darkness which hurls itself at you or drives itself at you or does something at you until you shine your flashlight at for a long enough time it goes away. Like I said, it didn't impress me. A lot of people really liked it. Now, my second biggest gripe with Alan Wake, like I said before, is the storytelling. With Alan Wake, you have this atmosphere. It's got one of the best atmospheres in gaming I think I've ever seen. It has one of the best soundtracks and some really good voice acting, but the problem is the story is so muddled and confusing that it's basically just paying homage to all the things that the person who wrote this liked. And the reason I've got my Kindle here, I'll tell you now, is because on this Kindle is a lot of Stephen King, because I like Stephen King, and every chance they get in Alan Wake, they remind you that they like Stephen King too, as going so far as to at one point have a character in the game call Alan Wake by the names of many famous horror authors, which most people think is really cool. I think that's just an example of how this game has no personality and is just ripping off of a million other things. I'm sorry. Most of this game is a rip-off of Stephen King novels like It, The Shining, and Salem's Lot. I mean, you could just go down the list. And also a lot of H.P. Lovecraft influenced stuff, and that's another one, they reference H.P. Lovecraft a lot. This wouldn't be a problem if the story was actually worthy of those writers, but the story gets so confusing towards the end, and the game literally ends, and there's no spoilers here, I'm just going to tell you straight up that the game literally ends with no conclusion. That's because they want you to buy 2 DLCs that are supposed to have a conclusion. Now, as of this recording, the 2 DLCs have come out. I have looked them up. I have read about them because, sorry guys, like I've said in many other reviews, I'm very poor. I don't have the money for a lot of games or DLC, so I looked up the uh, the DLC online and found out that basically they don't conclude it either. So basically you have this game without a conclusion, so now we're waiting for an Alan Wake 2 if you actually care about this game. Like I said, most games do this nowadays. There aren't many games with conclusions. That's fine. My problem is I didn't know what was going on for the whole game, let alone, the end of the game. Didn't even sum up my questions. Another big problem with this game is Alan Wake might be one of the worst game characters ever invented. Let me tell you why. A lot of people are going to defend it and say that he's a metaphor for all kinds of things. Alcoholism, blah, 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 different problems in his life. My problem with Alan Wake is that every time he talks in narration, because he's writing what you're playing, another gripe, I'll get to that in a second. He's writing what you're playing, so everything he says in narration is in a terrible monotone, so that when he sees a dog sitting in a corner, he looks at the dog and goes, "There was a dog sitting in the corner." That's not fun. In fact, it's just irritating. It doesn't breathe life into it, make you feel like you're reading a book when someone has no passion behind what they're saying. He doesn't have to love that the dog's sitting in the corner. Why doesn't he just not tell me the dog's sitting in the corner, because I can blatantly see it? So, you have that problem. Another big issue with this game is that you collect manuscript pages. Now, a lot of people at first are going to be like, "Oh, this is really cool." It's like, you're getting the pages of the story he's writing that you're playing. Problem is, it spoils things for you. Literally, 2 or 3 levels before I got to a boss fight, I read a manuscript page that described the events leading up to the boss fight. I was really mad when I got to this boss fight, which would have been a really good surprise and breathe some life back into the game, only to find out, hey, I already know exactly what's going to happen here. This isn't scary. And in fact, that's the problem with Alan Wake. It wants to scare you so bad, it throws these things at you all the time that you have to shine a flashlight on, but nothing in the game is truly scary. Every room you walk into, you're already predicting that there's going to be a fight there if it's big, or if it's closed in, there's not going to be a fight. And that's boring. The game itself is just boring. It was a struggle to get through. I will say the soundtrack for the game is beautiful. It's amazing. In fact, it's so good I went and bought it on iTunes after I played the game. Not because I liked the game, just because the music was made by talented musicians, and that leads into the pros, which number 1 was good music, and I just said that. I've said it many times. Number 2, I've already talked about a little bit, the atmosphere. This is a great atmospheric game. It just has nothing behind the atmosphere to save it. It's like a really pretty painting that smells like shit. It's really pretty. You wish you could look at it for longer, but it smells so damn bad you just keep walking away from it. And that's one of the problems with Alan Wake. This is a smelly ass game. So what I'm going to give Alan Wake is a stay away from it, or I don't know what I'm going to call this level of review yet, because I don't want to say fuck it. I don't think it's that bad of a game that we need to say fuck this game, but I think it's a really bad game for anyone who doesn't have a lot of money like me. And I would just tell you right now, stay away from Alan Wake. Maybe go read about it, listen to the soundtrack, and maybe by Alan Wake 2 they can fix some of their problems and we'll try again. Because it has a good story, it has a really good backing to it, it just doesn't have a lot of soul. Alan Wake is missing a soul. And what I'm going to close this out on is, I forgot what I was going to say. Kind of like this whole game, I just kind of forgot, everything about it. Honestly, couldn't tell you like half of what went on in the game. Only that if you're going to get Alan Wake, if you're going to try it right now, get the limited edition, because apparently it comes with a book that has a lot more information about the game. And that's actually my point. Most of the information about this game is off in La La Land somewhere, where you have to go find it on the internet, or you have to go buy a special book series. Basically what this game is, it took 7 years to make this game, and not a single bit of it feels like it took 7 years. This feels like someone came into an office a couple years ago and said, "Hey, let's make this game." They made it, it came out, and it was okay. It's bland. This took 7 years. I don't see where the 7 years of work went in. Maybe it's them trying to figure out how to use your flashlight and gun at the same time, which might be one of the worst mechanics in gaming. Not only can I not look down the gun's sights in any way or have a reticle, the only thing I have to aim with is a flashlight beam that bounces around more than a schizophrenic at a ICP concert. It's impossible to do anything with the guns. Like, there's explosive barrels, I can't hit them because I'm bobbing around all the time trying to dodge the extremely fast dart guys, which aren't really that dangerous but are just annoying. So overall, Alan Wake, you get a stay away from this game. and maybe read about it online. I don't know what to give this game other than I didn't really like it, and if you want to check it out, I wouldn't recommend buying it. Please stay tuned. I'm gonna do Gears of War 3 coming up, and it's got a little bit better things going for it, if not a ton. So guys, tell me how much you hate me, follow me, subscribe to me, blah 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 blah. I'm just trying this shit out. If you hate it a lot, tell me what I'm doing wrong. But thank you guys for watching. If you watch, please stick around, please subscribe, please follow, and I'll be sure to return any comments. I'll review anything you want me to review. I'll talk to you later. Out.